Yeah, but I want you to explain every letter.
Okay, helping each other succeed. Helping each other succeed. You can do it together.
Okay.
But don't make too much
You
show.
take the green and you take the red.
In the scriptures.
We do the practical way.
What?
We make it practical.
What?
You say how to succeed together.
Yeah, they are already cooperating.
Yeah.
Very intensely. He just jumped to help her, so that's very gentlemanly.
When it's not written, I don't hear it.
Just, okay.
Yeah, thank you. So, but there will be more opportunities to write things here later. So, now there is a Shastric basis for this, Shastric inspiration, and there is also 7 purposes of ISKCON. So, Srila Prabhupada, when he started this movement, he has written 7 purposes, and these 7 purposes of ISKCON is like 7 goals, and it's like a mission statement of ISKCON. So, now 2 out of 7 speak about coming closer to each other and helping each other. And I will read them to you, but my screen is blinking a little bit, so, but it will stop blinking, I hope, if I do a little bit like this. Thank you. So helping each other succeed in devotional service and other areas of life that support devotional service. You can meet once a week and have a 2-way session, and you both play roles of a coach and a coachee or a client. So you can help each other by having a conversation which is structured, and these structures are described in the Devotee Success Partnership Guide, which I will also use when I explain to you here these things. So in this course we will speak about Shastric verses that inspire this approach. We will present various structures, how this can be done in a practical way on a weekly basis. It can be done more often, but I would say minimum once a week would be good. And then we will practice today also, and I will also demonstrate one session with one of you who volunteer, demonstrate how this session looks like. We will do 5 minutes each, and then you will also practice between all of you. We have 8 devotees, 4 ladies and 4 Prabhus, but more are coming. Anyway, so this is the plan for today. Speaking about verses, presenting structures and practicing. Now this is a very special relationship. It's not an ordinary friendship. In ordinary friendship, depending on the maybe education, upbringing and development of each individual, you can have ability to help each other succeed. But this is very much focused on your goals and on helping you succeed and on helping you be happy and more productive in Krishna consciousness. I would say Devotee Success Partnership is both devotee care and training. Both devotee care and training. And it's actually applying the scriptures, how to apply the scriptures effectively for our own success and for the benefit of everyone with whom we come in contact. So I want to read you 2 out of 7 purposes of ISKCON that Srila Prabhupada has written when he started this movement, to bring the members of the society together with each other and nearer to Krishna, the prime entity, thus developing the idea within the members and humanity at large that each soul is part and parcel of the quality of Godhead, Krishna. This is number 3 of the 7 purposes. And number 6 is, again, to bring the members closer together for the purpose of teaching a simpler and more natural way of life. So this is one of the inspirations that I have, how I have created this. And there are, we would say, 3 things that this devotee success partnership can accomplish. Of course, there is more things that you can accomplish, but these are 3, I would say, fundamental things that devotee success partnership can accomplish. First, empowering confidence with helping you to develop your faith in God. How it is done, this is a long story. We will not cover everything here, but I'm just saying about some of the goals. Then stimulating your creativity by asking you excellent questions. Questions stimulate creativity, they stimulate our intelligence, and then our intelligence works better when we hear very good questions or excellent questions. And the last is enthusing the heart with unconditional love. So the devotee success partner is trying to provide unconditional love to another devotee who is also his success partner, and this is done both ways. Both they're trying to provide unconditional love, to love each other unconditionally, and to be highly supportive to each other. Now let us look at some of the verses which are inspiration for this partnership. Bhagavad Gita 2.29 says, "Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all." So some people cannot understand the soul, but you are fortunate you understand the soul at least to some extent. And one important word here is Ashcharyavat. It means amazing. So every soul is amazing. Why? Because every soul is a part of the Supreme Lord, and He is supremely amazing. So every one of you is a divine being. So you cannot say, "I'm nothing," or "I'm useless," or things like this. Why? Because naturally, constitutionally, you have an amazing potential, but this potential is not, developed 100% at the moment, and it can be developed through this success partnership. Another verse, "The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me, their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me." So enlightening one another, conversing about me, this is what is happening actually in these sessions, DSP sessions. Another verse from the Bhagavatam, "That is why the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas protect each other as well as themselves, and the Lord Himself, who is both the cause and effect and is yet immutable, protects them through each other." This is very important. God protects us through someone else, through another human being. So you can be such a wonderful instrument in Lord's hands to protect, to enable God to protect people through you by serving them, by supporting them, by helping them, by encouraging them. Here is an example of Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, but this can be applied to anybody, that protecting through each other, the Lord protects through each other. So sometimes people don't see how God is helping them and sending them help. You know this famous story of a man who was in a flood, and many saving boats were coming to take him, to save him, but he said, "No, I'm a pious man, I believe in God, He will help me." And then finally he drowned and died, and when he went to heaven, because he was pious, when he went to heaven, he complained to God, "Why I died? I mean, I believe in you, and I offer candle to you, and I fast for you, I do so many things, so why didn't you save me?" And he said, "I sent the boat 3 times, but you didn't notice it." He sent through someone else, through a human being. So we should be able to recognize how God is sending us help. God is sending us help through other human beings. Now, your own liberation, if you want to go back to the spiritual world, actually depends on how you deal with others. This is confirmed in this verse. The self-effulgent Vaikuntha planets, that means spiritual world, by whose illumination alone all the illuminating planets within this material world give off reflected light, cannot be reached by those who are not merciful to other living beings, other living entities. Only persons who constantly engage in welfare activities for other living entities can reach the Vaikuntha planets. It's from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4. So you see how this, it's not, if you're helping another person, it's not only for them, it's for you. You will benefit. It's for your own benefit. Also, you will get a lot of spiritual credits by this. Then another example, when there was a conflict, when Indra has stolen a horse for the sacrifice, then there was a conflict, but they somehow resolved this conflict. As King Indra was standing by, he became ashamed of his own activities and fell down before King Prithu to touch his lotus feet. But Prithu Maharaj immediately embraced him in great ecstasy and gave up all envy against him for his having stolen the horse meant for the sacrifice. So they both gave up envy. So if you have this success partnership, you cannot do it if you have enviousness of another devotee. You have to give up enviousness and then just focus on their benefit. Prahlad Maharaj is praying, may there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti yoga, for by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Shri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thought of Him. Again, thinking of each other's welfare. In the success partnership session, you are thinking of the benefit of another devotee. That is your goal. So this also inspired me to develop this. And it is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. This is considered to be the highest method of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart. So the highest method of worshipping the Super Soul, who is in the expansion of God, who is in our heart, is by actually if we sacrifice for others, voluntary sacrifice for others. And sometimes, your time, your listening, it may be a sacrifice for you to do. But you do it because you know that this is so pleasing to the Lord. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this is the last quote, Shastri quote, and then we will speak about the role of a devotee success partner a little bit. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his book Tattva Viveka proclaims that those who think that devotion to God and kindness to the jivas are mutually different from each other and perform accordingly in their life, such persons will not be able to follow the devotional culture. Their performances are only a semblance of devotion. Therefore, all the types of beneficence to others, like kindness, friendliness, forgiveness, charity, and respect, are included in bhakti. The actions of respect, friendliness, and kindness are the very form of love and the characteristic portion of bhakti. Charity of medicines, clothes, food, water, etc., shelter during adversities, the teaching of academic and spiritual education, etc., are the activities included in the devotional culture. So sometimes we think maybe these are all mundane activities, but here they are part of the devotional culture with the God in the center. So do you have any questions so far about these points? Or comments?
There's examples like in Christianity. We have an example in Belgium. There was a man, Pater Damian. You know, he was a monk, and he went to the lepers, and he became a leper himself, and he died. So he sacrificed himself, and he's considered to be a great saint.
Yeah.
So I told that to my spiritual master, and he said, Vedic culture is just the opposite.
Opposite what?
You don't kill yourself to, you know, to do devotional service. So that is kind of considered to be a word of ignorance.
This kind of sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the sacrifice that the devotee does is that he is helping people to become Krishna conscious and to come closer to God. And sometimes he may risk his life for this, but this risk should be somehow approved by God, or should be a reasonable risk. And many devotees have risked their lives going to Muslim countries where it's dangerous. And so, yes, there is sacrifice in the mode of ignorance, there is sacrifice in the mode of passion, there is sacrifice in the mode of goodness, and there is sacrifice in Krishna consciousness, which is even higher than in the mode of goodness. So this sacrifice that is mentioned here is sacrifice in Krishna consciousness. Yes?
What is the number of that last verse which you quoted from Bhagavad? The one,
The last one?
sacrifice for others is the highest welfare. Or is the highest.
Oh, okay. That's yes. This is right. I will tell you. It's Canto 4. No, Canto 8. 8:7:44. Also there is in the purport there is something, but this is the verse. This is the verse. It's not that we want to become a hero or something, but we don't hesitate, and especially if you give your time to somebody to listen to them, it may be a sacrifice for you. Sometimes maybe it's not a sacrifice, but maybe it's a pleasure. But for them it can mean a lot. That somebody is listening to them, somebody is interested in their life, somebody is asking them questions, somebody is helping them to think. And we are coming to the devotee success partner role now. Each partner plays three basic roles. One is I'm your thinking partner, then I'm here as support and encouragement, and I'm here to help you to be accountable to your own goals through me. So basically, this third thing means that if you set a goal, then you report regularly to your success partner, and in this way you become more serious about your goals. You become more serious. These are three roles, very simple, that you play. You're always encouraging. You want to help them succeed. And we are coming to different structures that I want to present to you. Last Saturday we had a shorter version, so I didn't present them, but now I will present them all. Before we start, I want to mention two more things. This mutual influence, describe a little bit this mutual influence. And first, to describe a little bit the attitude of each of these success partners. Okay, true success partner, and this may refer to a coach or to a leader also, wants your success more than his own. Can you believe that? So true success partner, or the best success partner, wants your success more than his own. Can you imagine yourself thinking like this? You have a friend, you have another success partner, and you think, oh, I want that they succeed more than I want that I succeed. Can you imagine yourself like this? Yeah? Yes? No? Well, you can boldly just imagine or dream that you can think like this. That you enjoy other person's success more than your own. So that's one point I want to mention before we go into describing different structures that you can choose from, how to lead a session, how to do the session, how to be coached or how to coach the other person or your success partner. Now this is so important. This, when I was in Spain last year, I think, in the summer there was a big European communication seminar and many devotees came from all over the world to discuss different issues in relation to public relations of ISKCON and communication with different target groups that we are. Well, we are in contact with everyone. We are in contact with everyone, but you have like academics, you have government, you have parents, different groups. You have youth, for example. So there was a break, and one devotee came out, and he's actually more like a manager. He's also a preacher, but he's also a manager. And when I met his wife in the restaurant there on the Spanish farm, I asked her, "How are you? How is your husband?" And she said, "Oh, he's studying therapy." Wow, therapy. Wow, I didn't know. I wouldn't expect this from him. Then I spoke to him at that break, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to do this full time. I'm giving up management." I was shocked. Amazing. I was also happy. And so, what is your system? How do you help people? And he said something interpersonal or transactional or something. There was some fancy name, some kind for the therapy. I forgot the name, but it's quite famous in the world of therapy. And he says it's very spiritually based. It speaks about the soul. It's very spiritually based. And I said, "So what do you do? You know, how it looks like?" And he said, "Well, it's based on the understanding that the way the therapist treats the client or the patient influences how the client treats himself. So he talks with himself, he listens to himself, he believes in himself." I will read you in detail. The client's relationship with the coach or therapist influences his own relationship with himself. A coach is empathic, supportive, encouraging, and sees his or her partner in terms of his or her potential, not in terms of his or her present behavior or performance. Because of the way one partner behaves with another partner, he develops a similar positive relationship or attitude with himself or herself, he or she. He or she. He or she. The partner communicates partner's worth and potential so clearly that he or she starts to see it himself or herself. So do you understand? You may have negative inner dialogue. Your mind may be telling you are useless, you will not succeed, this will not work, you're incapable. Many negative messages you may get from your own mind. But if you get positive messages from the outside, from your success partner, slowly you will actually imbibe this way of thinking, you will assimilate this way of thinking, and you will start to tell yourself a different story, which is more positive. You understand? We always tell ourselves a story, or the mind is telling us a story, and many times it's a negative story. You cannot do it, this is not good, they are not good, you are not good, it will not work, it's Kali Yuga, you are depressed, you are a victim, and so many things like this. So many things like this. But if you have someone who is always telling you, you can do it, you have potential, I show you, see, you hear very successful, you did this well, you said this well, and you wrote this well, Then you start to think, but maybe I'm not so bad. If somebody always is giving you positive messages about yourself, somebody who believes in you. One of the great qualities of a success partner, devotee success partner, is that he believes in you. Why? Because he sees you're an eternal servant of Krishna, you're Sachitananda, eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. You have so much potential. Ashcharyavat, amazing. It means you have so much potential. He believes in you. What he believes in when he believes in you, you tell me? When you believe in someone, what do you believe in them?
Yes, part and parcel of Krishna have also some qualities
Yes.
from Krishna.
Good.
So he can
Yes.
be empowered by Krishna.
Exactly. Yeah. What else? Excellent. Yeah. What do you believe in? You believe in someone. If you have ever believed in anyone, what did you believe in them?
Potential.
Yes. But more precisely, yeah?
They can overcome their limits.
Did they go over their limits? Okay. Potential, in what sense? More specifically?
It might be potential in a lot of ways. He's able to do.
Say something. Able to do, yes?
Yes, for example, he couldn't sing. For example, that he couldn't do that, but his mind is refusing him. But if his partner tells his mind, he's able to do it. Maybe will he do it?
Okay.
Because he is blocking himself.
Yes. Okay, so believing in potential means believing in their ability, would say so. And what else you believe? So ability is one thing. What else do you believe? What is important quality?
Everyone has a uniqueness. Everyone has something unique that.
Believe in their uniqueness. Okay. Okay. Everybody can offer something specific, special to Krishna. Okay. What else do we believe when we believe in another person?
We believe in ourselves. I think.
No, we are speaking now about believing in another person.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you believe in them? You believe in nobility and what else?
That he is an eternal servant of Krishna.
Yes.
The faith or no, you have faith.
You have faith in them.
Yeah.
Something that has to do with character. There is character and competence. Competence is ability. But what is related to character?
Qualities.
Qualities, but which quality? Specifically.
Strength, determination, strength.
Good qualities.
Determination, good qualities.
Confidence.
Confidence.
Consistency,
What do we need in Krishna consciousness in order to succeed?
enthusiasm,
Humility.
determination,
What?
patience.
Sincerity.
Sincerity.
So I believe you are sincere and I believe you are capable. When you tell this to people, it helps a lot. Because sometimes people doubt them. I doubt you are serious. I doubt you are sincere. And this disempowers you. But if you believe that they are sincere, maybe they are not 100% sincere, but still you believe in whatever sincerity is there, and the sincerity is always developed. It can grow. Sincerity can grow. And sincerity especially is tested when you have to choose between Maya and Krishna to show integrity, show that you are true to your values. So one of the structures is integrity coaching. And one of the structures is you can have integrity structure for integrity coaching, integrity partnership. Okay, so let us look at some structures. Now we're speaking about structures already. We will go through all of them, but before that, I would like to get up, you to get up and stretch a little bit, and maybe open a little bit more windows. Because sitting and listening maybe a little bit... Some of you maybe know this exercise, so please get up. This also can help your success partner very much with changing their mood in any situation. So raise your arms and try to be depressed. Try to feel bad.
I can do that.
It's quite okay. Now do the strongest step and try to double your depression. Your bad feeling. You're completely frustrated, disappointed in the world, in everybody, in yourself. Be negative. Why are you smiling?
Negativity.
Okay, continue doing these two things. Start chanting Hare Krishna and triple your depression. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Congratulations, you are very bad students of depression yoga. It's very difficult for you to be depressed, especially when your hands are up. So, some experts say that motion brings emotion. And if you move in a certain way, it's very difficult to feel negative or bad. So if you move like this, how can you feel bad if you move like this? I mean, it's impossible. Or if you raise your arms. So where did I get this? You may think, oh, he's reading New Age books or something. Motion brings emotion, Tony Robbins. No, look at the altar, go in the temple and see. Gontai always have hands up. So there must be something mystical, because God is having his hands up. There must be something magical or mystical in this. And it affects our mind. It affects our mind. So Kornitai always, Srila Prabhupada was very pleased when his disciples would dance like this with raised arms, left and right, like Panchatattva. So sometimes if your success partner is depressed or feels bad, you ask them to get up and take a deep breath, raise their arms, and do a Swami step and chant. So this will change their mood. They will be more open to hear some wisdom and something that can help them. And to have a better quality of discussion. Okay, the first partnership is Gita partnership. Encourage devotees to read and discuss in pairs or in groups, always enlightening each other and conversing about me. We mentioned this verse 10.9 from the Bhagavad Gita, and now you actually allow Bhagavad Gita to do the coaching, or Srila Prabhupada through his purpose to do the coaching. But you choose verses that will help them. So before the session there is these steps. If a devotee has a problem or a goal, ask him to define it in writing and share it with you. Then ask him to find, before the session, quotes in the Bhagavad Gita that could help him work on it. If he is not able to find them, help him. Discuss with him how these quotes can help him work on his goal. You don't have to write it, I'll give you everything. Discuss with him how these quotes can help him work on his goal. To help him be more focused and disciplined, recommend that he sends you daily or weekly his progress reports. That's very important in success partnership accountability. Another one, shloka coaching. Both devotee success partners choose a verse that each of them would like to apply during the upcoming week, discuss how to apply it, make a plan, take action, and report daily or weekly to each other. For example, Bhagavad Gita 17:15, speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and always reciting the Vedic literature. So you can apply this verse and practice your communication skills. If you have any questions, as I'm explaining, please raise your questions and I will give you an opportunity to ask them. You can interrupt me. About these systems, if something is not clear in the structure that I describe, and I will try to clarify it or even improve it thanks to your question. Another one is personal questions. So you make a list of important areas in your life and form them into questions that your devotee success partner can ask you in a session. These questions may cover your top daily or weekly priorities. For example, have you done your best to take care of your body, mind and soul? Have you done your best to chant quality japa? Have you done your best to read Srila Prabhupada's books? Have you done your best to build trusting relationship with devotees, relatives, colleagues or friends? Have you done your best to make a wonderful contribution to the mission of Krishna consciousness or to the world? So, I give you my questions and you ask me my questions because I want to discuss these areas. So your success partner asks your own questions and listens to your answers attentively. If needed, he asks you subsequent questions to help you think better about your goals and priorities. In the second part of the session, he gives you his personal questions and you play a role of a coach. So you switch roles. You both have equal time as a client and the coach. So you give questions. Now another one is also related to questions. It's called excellent questions. Use these steps to do a two-way session at least once a week. Ask a devotee to clearly define a weekly goal. If he has a problem, turn it into a goal. Ask him to think about and write down several excellent questions that can help him achieve the goal. Ask him to think of the best answer to these questions. Ask him to make a plan based on the answers and take action. Ask him to report to you at the next session or daily if he likes. Review together his performance and results at the next session. So they now, instead of they need to think about questions that will help them to achieve their goal, and write them down, and then think about the answers also. Sometimes maybe you can add one question if you think it will be very, very helpful, but better that they think about questions, because you are their thinking partner. You're not trying to give them solutions. It's not forbidden, but you help them to think for themselves. Another one is japa partnership. Help each other with improving your japa by sharing inspirational japa quotes, reading together books about japa, like Mahatma Prabhu's Affirmations, Japa Reform Notebook, The Living Name of Satchidananda Swami, then some other. Discussing obstacles to your japa, reporting to each other about your japa, and chanting 16 rounds in one go. Here is few quotes. As an example, of all the regulative principles, the spiritual master's order to chant at least 16 rounds is most essential. Then another, it is essential that everyone fulfill a specific vow to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Therefore, we have prescribed in our society that all of our students must chant at least 16 rounds daily. Such chanting must be offenseless in order to be of high quality. Mechanical chanting is not as powerful as chanting of the holy name without offenses. Then we have another one. It's called Feet Forward. If I want to improve a certain area, I approach you and I ask you, give me 2 suggestions that you think will help me, for example, with my japa. And then based on your experience, knowledge, or what you have heard from others, you give me 2 suggestions. And I say, thank you, I don't comment on this, I don't say I agree, I disagree. I just say thank you and I follow up and I apply one or both of them, and then I report to you at our next meeting. It's very simple. Instead of speaking about the past, we speak about the future, feet forward. Suggestions for the future, positive suggestions for the future. So this is also a very simple way to do this. You can discuss it in the session, and always it has to do with goals. Another one is thinking partnership. This is a little bit more complex, so I will not, this requires like a whole course to explain. But basically you are helping the other person to think. You are not giving them any advice, any suggestions. And there is a structure and system, but we don't have time now to go this into detail. We have only we had only 2 hours for the whole course. And then another one is integrity partnership. And there is, I have integrity partnership guide. This is another discussion. Please welcome. You can come in. Integrity partnership guide. Now this also, it's basically, the goal is to develop your own integrity and inspire others to develop theirs. And idea is to you work on being true to your values. You work on being true to what you know is right. And especially exercise integrity, demonstrate integrity in the moment of choice. So if for you integrity means to eat less sweets because of your health or because of you don't want to enjoy so much your tongue, then you, when you see sweets, when maha sweets come, and you say, I will going to take 1, and your mind tells you, you are going to take 3. So you say, no, I was in my integrity session with my integrity success partner, and I told them, I promised them, this week I'm taking only one. And the mind gets shocked. Oh, don't be angry, okay, but still take 3. The mind will always try to cheat you some way. And you see, if we make promises and keep promises to others, we feel good and they trust us. Similarly, if you make promises and keep promises to yourself, you feel like an honest human being. We feel very bad we don't keep promises to ourselves, and we are very expert on excuses. I have written a whole book about excuses. I have it. I can send it for you for free. Free ebook donations are welcome. I'm joking. Maybe not. So excuses. We know when we are making excuses and we are not true to our values. So we. In the moment of choice when no one is looking, you say, okay, just a little bit like 3. I mean, I will not die. But you feel bad because you are breaking your promise. And how can we feel good if we break promises to ourselves? It's impossible. Why? Because the law of nature is like this. The law of God is like this. If you break promises, you cannot feel good. You feel like I don't want to mention it, it's a very bad word. So, I mean, there is many bad words that you can use to end this sentence. So, therefore, when you have to report to your partner and not lie, then in the moment of choice, 3 or 1, I have to report. And my partner will say, what is this? You promised 1. Not like this. I'm just exaggerating. They can ask you gently, but you will feel equally bad. So you need, basically, it's not that you are accountable to me or I to you, but I am accountable to my goal. I am accountable to my own honesty, my own truth. I'm accountable to God. But you are just playing this role as an instrument in God's hands to help me to be true to my values and to be true to my promises. So this is so helpful. I mean, last 2-3 months, I have a couple of success partnerships with a couple of devotees. And I know, like my main integrity goal is to get up at 3. And I don't get up every day, but I get up most days. And out of, 7 days, usually 6 or, at 3. Actually, no, it's between 3 and 4. But as soon as I get up after 4, even if it's 4 or 1, I have to report to my success partner and said, I failed. And it helps me so much. And I know when the alarm clock rings, I immediately feel guilty if I don't get up. Because I know I'm going to report how I will feel in the afternoon when I report to my success partner that I failed again or something. First week I failed 4 out of 7. And I got so angry at myself that next week I failed only 2 out of 7. And the third week I put more goals on myself and more imposition so that I can be more strict with myself, and I got up 7 out of 7. And now I think 90%, 95%, for example today 420, that's a big failure, 420. But between 3 and 4, the best is 3. You finish 8 rounds before Mangal Arati. Prabhu also, Ramanandara Prabhu also gets up early. You feel like a human being. You feel like you have done some sacrifice for God, and so many years I wasn't happy with my sadhana. So, when you have someone to report human being who will ask you, why didn't you do it? Politely. Then, and you feel, oh my God. And now, what is honesty in integrity coaching and in partnership also in these things? I suggest you, if you are a sincere spiritual warrior, in a, seal, sea, earth, air, these guys? these are Marines, U.S. Marines, so they are commandos, and they get heavy training, they get hellish training. But there is in Russia and Korea even more hellish. I mean, Americans are soft in comparison to Koreans or Russians. So for every mistake, they have to do push-ups. So it's a very good principle, you know.
So we do that at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, in the afternoon.
Why this is good? They punish them. Why this is good? Because you show to your trainer that you don't show. They force you have to do it there because you get training like this. But if you want to do compensation. You know compensation? You want to make it up. I did a compensation the first week when I failed. I immediately added another goal, so it's harder the next week. Just because I failed the first week. 4 out of 7. That's a shame. So compensation, and one compensation, like if I don't finish my rounds, I don't eat until I finish my rounds. Nothing. You can drink so that you don't die. So if you want to show God that you are serious about your job, and Prabhupada said, it's not that Prabhupada said, if you don't finish your rounds, don't eat, don't sleep, finish your rounds.
It's the most important to do
Yeah.
activity, no?
Yeah. And one devotee here in this community, I said, Prabhu, come to the feast. I don't know which was feast. It was Sunday feast or maybe for Bhakti Charu Maharaj feast. I don't remember. And he said, well, I didn't come to Mangala Arati. I didn't come to the morning program. So when I don't come to the morning program, I don't go to meals. I feel bad. And that's honest. And so if you say, I don't eat until I finish my rounds, you show God that you are serious about your japa. And next time you will really work hard to finish your rounds because you want to eat breakfast also. Yeah.
It's also good not to watch on the mobile till you finish
Oh
your round.
no question of mobile phone. No question of mobile phone. No question of laptop. No, just forget about it. No question.
It helps really. It's very, very good.
Yes. No looking at anything. No interruption with anything. Only you can drink some water if you are really thirsty. You know your mouth gets dry. That's fine. That's okay. You can do it. I sometimes have so much pain in my body, so I have to stretch a little bit and do like this. It's like a little bit of an exercise, but still I'm chanting. I don't stop chanting. So just not chanting non-stop. So we want to, and also, I mean, on top of this, you report to your success partner, and so basically, you are showing God that you are serious, and you are using another devotee to show God that you are more serious. So they're basically monitoring you. They are monitoring you. Sometimes people say, if you don't want to accept training from a Bhakta leader, if you don't want to accept training from a temple president, you have to accept training from your wife. Yeah? Because wife requires certain discipline. Or husband also trains the wife. I could never surrender to that. But my wives were not heavy. They didn't try to train me because probably they knew it's impossible. But it's good. I mean, a wife can make a man a man. Responsible, make money, shut up, or whatever. So wife can really help you to become disciplined, cultured, civilized, and useful. Now, I'm sorry for all the Prabhus. I'm also in the male body, and I know you are responsible. I mean, you have maybe finished your marriage or whatever, or your career. You are in a pension. You have a pension and retirement. I have not. I have worked only 8 years in the temple. I was employed. It's helpful to be responsible when you have a family. It's helpful to be responsible, to be very responsible, and to to be patient, to be tolerant. I asked one Grihastha, he has been in marriage for 50 years, he has 5 sons, and I asked him, what is the secret of long-term marriage? And he was thinking, he said, patience. Patience.
And tolerance.
Tolerance. And you can be 100% sure that you cannot change your wife or husband. But still you can improve. You can improve and you can help each other. If you see marriage as training, as a great austerity, it can be very pleasant and successful. So, there is some other ways that you can. Where's my glasses? See them?
Behind the lantern.
Here? Okay, so I give you a couple of more ideas how you can do this partnership. You can do based on 3 gunas. So you can speak about how to develop mode of goodness. Then use metaphors and analogies from the scriptures for coaching. Your favorite verses. You can look at the index in the Bhagavad Gita. Use the topic to work on. The most important verses, Srila Prabhupada's purports, different sections like those who describe devotees' qualities, large subjects like body, mind, spirit, and using the Gita model that I have created. Can you write it here? Goals, ideas, tests, and actions. Gita model, GITA, goals,
Tests or tasks?
ideas, tests, and action. Tests, obstacles. And now for our exercise, I will give you the last model. We will not practice all of this because we don't have time. We would need 3 days to practice this. But I will give you a very simple model which you can use, and we will demonstrate now. And I need one of you to be a bold volunteer. Come here, we will sit, face each other, everybody will look and make notes what is happening in this session, and we will comment. So we will have a demonstration now very soon. And I will explain. So this you can use to coach yourself and to coach others. You come to a session with some other person or with yourself alone, but with your success partner, and then you first assess what is the goal, then what ideas or instructions from the Shastra there, and we will face each other and have a session, demonstration. Actually, because of recording, it can be like this. So he could or she, you can sit here, and it's recording. Okay, it's good. And these other phones are here. So let's have the phones near, and if somebody sits here. So please raise your hand. I don't see so many hands. Don't worry.
I have to release my hand because it's very healthy and you become happy.
It doesn't hurt. You want to come?
Yes, I am.
Okay, please take your chair. This is Prasanatma Prabhu. I'm planning to do an interview with him because he inspired me so much. He's 68, but very young spirit.
Wow.
8. The 60, only the 8 stays. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so I will coach you first, and then you will coach me. And with this structure, and structure is very simple. So I will play a role of a coach with this structure, and structure is, you will understand the structure as I coach you also. It has only 2 points. Yes, it has only 2 points. Two requirements or 2 rules. One is that you listen attentively, and another is that you think about which question can help Akrura to achieve his goal. So I first have to tell you about my issue, my goal, and then you will listen.
Can I put it there? What is it?
No.
The question. No, I mean question and...
No, first listening.
Listening?
Listening and thinking about the questions that can help me. 1 question, 2 questions. So this is all. You don't have to write it. If you forget, I will remind you. But first is listening.
Listening.
Attentively. Yeah. You help by listening. You are helping me to think
and then
about
questions.
by listening, you are helping me to think about my goal and to myself. So you don't have to give me any advice. You're just facilitating my thinking.
Yeah.
So Hare Krishna, thank you for coming to coach me. And no, actually, sorry, I was supposed to coach you first. Yeah, I was supposed to coach you first. So you should think about the goal you want to speak about and to work on, and I will listen to you and I will ask you questions. This is how it should be. I am first the coach. Yeah. You can think for a few minutes. Everybody can breathe.
Hands up.
Yeah, you can breathe with your hands up. Everybody on the internet is in great expectation what will happen next. Okay. But we don't have many hearts and likes. Oh, now it's starting. I'm joking. Okay.
Can I start?
Yes. So yes.
To explain.
Yeah. What would we like to speak about? Yeah.
For the moment, I always finish my 20 rounds a day already for many years, but not you said in one go. In one go. I always reach my goal, but maybe it's better to do it more in one structure. Most of the time I live at home and I have the habit, everybody has a habit, most of the time I use the first hours of the day, that can be very early, to read a lot. And maybe you can help me in changing the way that I do first my japa. It's a question of priority. I know that every hours have another quality, but like I am a preacher, I think my quality time has to be in reading. And maybe it's better to do first japa and afterwards reading. And that's my goal. I want to improve. Can you give me some suggestions how I can work on it? Is it like that?
Yes. Well, first I can give you suggestions at the end, but first I want to ask you questions so that you think about it.
Yeah.
You can think about it. So my question is, would you like to set this as a goal?
I doubt a little bit. I am not sure for 100% if it is really. I am not 100% sure that it should be my goal.
Why did you think about it?
Because I heard a lot that it is better in this way.
What have you heard?
Where?
And from whom?
Oh, I don't remember that, but I know it as a principle.
Okay.
I know it as a general principle. It's recommended. I followed courses about that, but daily life is something else than following a course. And everybody develops a certain habit. And my habit is, the thing was priority in reading, using my best time, that I can concentrate very good and that I can preach good. And that is a little bit my way of doing. Okay. Changing your habits is not an easy thing, but I should say a reasonable goal is maybe that I can at least do 8 rounds at very early in the morning and in one space, not starting to overdo, then you fail.
In one
little
go?
Little steps, little steps, say 8 rounds, like that. That can, trying to find reasonable goals. Otherwise you fail always. When the goal is too high, that's my worry. So I would like to, I think like that, and maybe let's say 8 in one go. That is doable for me. I can reach this goal without. And later, when you feel the success of it, you can maybe improve and say 10 or 12 and go and to become one block. That's the idea.
Is this your final goal, to have 16 in one go?
Not for the moment.
Okay, for now it's 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. And when will you?
when?
Can you set a deadline? You want to finish by a certain time, or when do
Oh.
you chant these 8 rounds in one go? Is it first thing in the morning or late, or I don't know? What?
Yeah. Family life is not so easy. I mean, at a certain age, at my age, your body tells you sometimes that you are tired or that you are not. You have first priority is health. Sometimes you are knocked down. That you,
You have to rest.
Yeah, that you have to rest. My wife is for the moment following a cancer therapy, so sometimes you are a little bit down because not down, you don't have the energy. You go with the pains and the sorrows of your wife, and it's not every day easy to have the same energy.
What would
especially-
be realistic to set for the week? How many days a week you could do 8?
Yeah, you think like that. Yeah, you can, okay. Maybe when I set my goal on 3 times a week to start 8 rounds.
And what time is this?
All the time. Sometimes I wake up at 2 o'clock, sometimes at 3 o'clock, at 4 o'clock. It depends. When I wake up, I start to read, or
When you wake up, you read, and when do you chant 8 rounds?
let's say before, starting at 5 o'clock.
The latest.
Yeah.
Okay, that's specific. That's
Yeah.
good. So, just a second. As you see now, I'm helping him to make the goal specific, very specific. Have a deadline, timing, all these things. More specific, the better is for the goal, and the better is for you to be more clear what you are working
Yeah.
on. Yes, okay. Okay, so anything else in relation to this? Are you happy with this goal?
For the moment, yes. It should be, in my case, a big improvement. And normally also, I have to be frank, I combine japa with japa walk. That is my daily. And it depends on the weather. I try to walk in my condition. It depends where I am. When I am at home, I look to the weather report and I try to do a japa walk of at least 1 hour, maybe 2 hours. I change to, I adapt my chanting to the weather, that I can walk in good condition. And I don't think it's...
Do you want to do these 8 rounds walking or sitting?
For me, it depends on the weather. Yeah.
Okay.
That's very practical.
Yes.
We need sun, especially in Belgium.
Okay.
And a goal that don't be practical. When it is good weather, it's good for your health. It's good for it's combination.
So you will feel good if you start working on this goal and according to your conditions.
Yeah. And I think 8 rounds like that, I should hold as a goal, and then doing the rest. I always chant 20 rounds a day, 12 according to the time and the sun. And it's combination. Japa walk. When I'm here, I try to do japa walk. Kadamba Kanana. You never know. He does it also that way.
Okay.
To improve your combination of health and.
This is not, you cannot specifically define when you are chanting 12 rounds?
No.
No, okay, it's like spontaneous.
Yeah, always. All what I do is spontaneous.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to you.
That's my lifestyle.
Okay.
I'm not a military man, but really that comes from my heart. That is
Well, you
spontaneous.
choose your goals, but
Yeah.
if you want to give a promise to yourself and improve, then you can do that also.
I understand now the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah.
The idea is to give a promise to yourself and keep it, and
Mhm.
then you feel
Yeah.
you feel the power of discipline.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we can stop here. You're happy with this?
Yes.
Okay, so now you will be a coach,
Yes.
and
Okay.
you will coach me. Do you have any questions so far about this? Yes.
Yes, one is eroding from a long, long time since you begin to speak. Where is our freedom? Where is our freedom?
Freedom.
You have to do that. Where is our freedom?
He is free to choose his goal.
Yeah.
I didn't impose any goals on him. I didn't preach to him.
I choose to improve my
He wants
life.
to follow instructions. He wants to follow instructions. He wants to chant early. I didn't impose anything on him. I didn't hit him with Prabhupada quote. I didn't hit him with rules. I could have done it, but I didn't do it. And if he asked me, hit me with a quote, I will hit him with a quote. I will hit him now. Yamuna asked Prabhupada, when should we chant 16 rounds? He said, before Mangalarati. So, now we can scratch our head.
And then you can move Mangalarati a little later.
No. Adapt to time, circumstances, and people. How old was
This is
she?
called over-intelligent. It's called over-intelligent. We can move Mangalarati.
We are all different.
No, Mangalarati is 4:30, or sometimes in some temples it's 5. I would say if you finish before darshan, before 7:15 or 16 rounds, that's already quite a big victory, isn't it? 16 rounds before darshan, somehow or other, you chant something before Mangalarati, finish. This is also to me in one go. And
It's also in a sadhana chart I read
yeah,
from London.
Yeah.
It's cool.
yeah. Once Shrutakirti Prabhu, who was a personal servant of Srila Prabhupada, he wrote this book Prabhupada Uvacha with many anecdotes with Srila Prabhupada, and he said one day Srila Prabhupada chanting 60 rounds and he finished them and he took off his japa and he said, now I can do any damn thing. Because we get so empowered by chanting early. So, okay, thank you. Let's now have you as a coach. You listen as a coach, and you will ask me questions that you think will help me succeed. I ask you to my best ability questions, and it seems that they were a little helpful for you. Now you can ask me questions. I just have to choose quickly a goal. I'm asked sometimes to mediate conflicts. Not very often. I'm not a trained mediator, but I have some training and I have some common sense, so I can help people to communicate and to not beat each other or kill each other.
Very good.
Thank you. But sometimes I see that I lose my objectivity. And I tend to think that I'm more on a side of one on the other. And I may be right, but it's not good for my role. So I would like to be able to keep the objective neutral position, whether I think this one is right or not. I'm not asked to preach to anyone. I'm not asked to impose any values and any things. But to fulfill my service and my role as an objective observer and try to help them to communicate and come up with their solutions. And sometimes you speak to people separately also. Maybe then you can say something, but when you are dealing with them as a pair or it's two people, then you have to keep this objectivity, and you cannot fall into a trap to judge or to, stand on anybody's side. So this is a challenge, I think. I have been asked recently a couple of times, and I saw in myself, I have a tendency to say this one is right, this one is wrong, and so this is for this role, for this service, it's not good, and I would like to keep it. So yes, that's my goal, and not sure how to avoid that trap. You're not allowed to give me suggestions unless I ask you. If I ask you, you can give me suggestions. You can only ask questions and listen. So, yeah. So now, when you can ask me. What?
To start question, I can start to ask questions.
I will just wanted to explain to you when you can ask me a question.
Okay.
You can ask me a question when I stop talking. You can ask me.
Yeah.
Are you thinking anything else about this? So let's say, okay, you ask me this. Are you thinking anything else?
Are you thinking anything else about it?
Trying to think. I'm thinking on a specific case which I will not reveal. It's confidential. And I like this balance, I don't want to take sides. I like this balance, and see what Krishna does in this situation. How Krishna inspires the one and the other, and sometimes miracles happen if you don't interfere, if you don't try to impose something or to judge or to say it's like this. Come on, and I know what you should do. Both of you, what you should do. Shut up! This is not your service. I say to myself. So, yeah. Yeah.
Now I have to.
You can. Now you can.
I can ask a question.
Or you can sometimes ask me, may I ask you a question?
Yeah, okay.
May I ask a question?
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
What is your personal difficulty in judging or not judging?
Oh, very good question. I like it. I'm not sure. I have a little bit of a Kshatriya nature. I hate injustice. I hate lies. I hate manipulation. And when I notice it, I just want to just kill the bad guy. But in Bhakti Yoga, it's very subtle. You cannot kill because nobody is so bad. You cannot kill a devotee, or you cannot shut them up. You cannot impose your opinion on them. So you have to be patient and wait, and also let Krishna act. Not only you, but let Krishna act. But your question is really helpful. What is why I have a tendency to judge? It's a very good question. I have to think about it more deeply. And I will think about it even after the session. Thank you, very good question. Very helpful.
Can I ask you another question?
Yes.
Aha. Do you... Should it be not a possible idea that you read the difference about the qualities of a Kshatriya and the Brahmanas in Bhagavad Gita? And
this is another question. This is hidden advice.
Sorry.
You ask
question.
Help me to think.
Yeah, okay.
I know this because I am doing it also. I pack the advice in the question.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people notice, sometimes they don't notice. So ask me a question.
Can you think about a verse in the Bhagavad Gita that can help you in solving your problem?
Oh, that's brilliant. I love it. I love it.
You also picked the advice in the question.
What?
No, he's actually sending me to the Shastra, which is very good. This is what I forgot to say. This is great. One way to do the session is the first question, when you have a goal or you have a problem, then the first question is what Prabhupada said about it. Let us look at this. And then we do a research, and then we go back and have a session. No, this you have to do pre-work before the session. You know. You give me in advance your problem, like think about japa. So I would do research, you do research, we bring together quotes, or you only you bring quotes, and we look at this. And so this, I like it. This is very much connected to this partnership. You have really hit the nail on the head with this question. So, okay, let me think. There are some conflicts in the Bhagavad Gita. There is conflicts also in the Shastra, different kinds of conflicts, and there are different ways how they were dealt with. Like Narada Muni deals differently. I mean, we can broaden it to other scriptures, not only Bhagavad Gita. But in the Bhagavad Gita, there is verses about equipoised, being equipoised, being equal in happiness and distress, and being neutral. I could find these verses, and they can give me some insight in what attitude should I have. So, okay, so we have stopped here because we have to practice. This was very helpful. I think you have done well. Now we want to still stay here. Now we want to hear feedback from you. What you have seen in this session, and how do you think both of us did as a coach and as a client? So you now, judge us or something. You say what you think of the session, what you have noticed. But as you can see, both of us benefited from the session, isn't it?
Yeah.
We had a practical benefit, yes?
Reciprocation.
Yes?
This first
Yes.
thing is reciprocation.
Yeah.
Sincerity.
Sincere, what?
Honesty.
Honesty, sincerity, yes. Reciprocation, what else?
But it's opening the problem. It's opening. It gives a broader vision.
Unpacking.
Unpacking.
Giving broader vision, attaining broader vision, yes. More?
And goes the same direction. It just sets free so much energy.
This is important. People used to say to each other, I love your eyes. I love your voice. I love your intelligence. But now I love your energy. It's a new age love. Or I love your vibe. So there was a lot of energy. We are both quite old. I mean, our bodies are old. We are young, actually very young. But our bodies are old. But there is a lot. I felt from you also energy, and I don't know if you felt any energy from me. But Prabhuji saw some energy between us. So maybe there wasn't, but he saw it.
There was this kind of active listening which opened the other,
Yeah, active listening. Yeah, that's a good.
asking questions
It's very
and
important.
give the
So
other
in
one.
success partnership, you have active listening as a very important ingredient. Anything else? Actually, the last part of the session we didn't do, it's appreciation. And we will do it now.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate your question. I appreciate your attentive listening. I appreciate, as a coach, I'm appreciating you as a coach. I appreciate your energy. And now you appreciate me as a client first, and then we will do appreciation from the first part. So 2 appreciations we have to do.
I appreciate you as a client.
Now you should appreciate me. I appreciate you as a coach. You appreciate me as a client, and then we will do vice versa.
Okay. You learned me a lot because I never thought about this problem. Because you
Just by listening about my problem.
You have to do it more because you learned me a lot. I never,
Teach me.
Yeah, I never thought about it. And now I will think for myself also. So you are, in fact, you are my teacher. You are not my client, and I thank you to teach me.
Thank you. I think the same about you. Okay, now I will appreciate you as a client. As a client, you were quite honest about your limits because you have a specific situation, but still you stretched and you wanted to stretch. I like that. So, and you said, I want to set realistic goals not too high now, but I still want to, expand and stretch. I appreciate this kind of intelligence and wisdom that, better go slower but safe. And what else I appreciate of you as a client? I think you think clearly. Your thinking is clear. I like that you liked when I want to help you make your goal more specific, and you seem to like it. You seem to like. Okay, let's make it more specific. I think this is very powerful. It's very helpful too for your goals. Okay, so now you appreciate me as a coach.
Oh, you learned me a lot. It's the best day of my life so far.
No, as a coach.
You are my coach, and I appreciate you as your coach.
As a coach, I listened to you. Did I listen well?
Yes.
And I ask a question.
Yes.
Where are the questions helpful?
Where?
Where are they helpful?
They were.
They were helpful.
Yeah, they were really helpful.
Okay.
Because you can say when I found out all this on my own, it should take me weeks, and now you could be. I gained so much time to do it together.
This one of the qualities is speed. It speeds up things a lot when you do it together in two people. When you do, speeds everything. So that's very excellent. Okay.
That I learned today. It's really helpful, and I appreciate you to that.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's get more feedback from you. Any comments or questions about our sessions? Yes?
It's very inspiring because I wanted to do the same system with my French godbrother, which is not initiated yet, but he chose the same spiritual master, and I think it's really, really inspiring.
Okay, very nice. Thank you. Very nice to hear. Anything else?
What about the doubt that I'm not a coach. I'm not a trained coach. I don't know. I don't.
I gave him a structure. He helped me. You don't need expensive coaching course. You don't need to read hundreds of coaching books. I just gave him 2 tasks, 2 rules that he should follow in a session as a coach, helped my thinking, and it was so helpful. And it's good if you think I'm not a great coach, or if it's good if you think I'm not a trained coach. You're a little bit like this. You're more humble. But of course, I encourage learning. I encourage getting training. I did it myself. I got training myself. You can always learn useful things for people who are experienced. But to start, you don't have to wait so long. You don't have to go on expensive courses for a long time. You can just start practicing. The more you practice, the more you learn it, and you can learn as you go. You go to this free course, this cheap course. If you have money, this expensive course. But practice always everything you learn, and then you will get better and better in this. Anything else? One more, and then we will start group exercise. Any other comment?
No, although there were a lot of issues in his life, he wanted to make this goal at 5 o'clock. No, it's quite.
You like this?
No, it's yeah. If you really want to try it, it's
So he is stretching himself.
He's stretching, flexible.
Stretching, and he's flexible stretching. Yes.
What is specific to the Shastra when you were speaking of about the Brahma Muhurta? Did we have to chant or did we have to read?
Both are auspicious, but in Brahma Muhurta, usually japa is recommended, and Prabhupada chanted before Brahma Muhurta also, and so I don't know. I feel that I mean, if Prabhupada said to chant before Mangala Arati, then it's clear that he first chanted, then he did other things, then he translated. So, I mean, we can find so many quotes on japa in Prabhupada and inspire ourselves. One partnership is japa partnership that I mentioned, so you can specifically work with japa. Now we had mixed. He had japa goal, I had, but of course he can choose his own goal. He had japa goal, and I had my service goal, like for conflict resolution. So, like this. Okay, so now we have.
A question.
Yeah.
It seems that you only covered the first two ingredients, that are goals and ideas, but you didn't touch so much tests and action.
No, action is there. He committed to action, and I don't know if I committed to. I also committed to learning more how to do this. But no, this is a different structure. We didn't practice this.
Yeah.
I mean, you found the parallel, but we didn't practice this. We practiced just these two steps in coaching. The most simple structure. We didn't practice this one. Now, but you can look at this. You can use it also. And of course, would be good if the session would be good. I could ask him a question. Okay, what would be the possible obstacles to your goal during the week? He may say, well, the mind, or my wife's health, or many. So it's good to think in advance. How will I deal with these obstacles? How will I overcome these obstacles? So it's a good point. And action was there. He's committed to some action, specific action. And but we didn't discuss obstacles, and it's a good point. Yeah, this can be discussed. It sometimes needed, sometimes not needed, but it's important to discuss obstacles and how to overcome them. Yes. Okay, now we have 4 ladies and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Prabhus. So we can have 3 pairs of Prabhus, 2 pairs of ladies. Choose your partner, and the same structure: listening and thinking about question. They will tell you about their goal or about their problem, and you think, what question will help my success partner to actually achieve that goal? You can go, if you like, a little bit there, or in the corner, or there, if you want privacy, whatever you want to, like this. Some can stay here, some can go there, or there.
The room?
No. And I will give you timing. You can have, what time is it now?
10 before 8. 12 before 8.
Oh, okay. So we can extend a little bit. Let's do 10 before 8. Let's do 10 minutes each, and then we will discuss it. No, 5 minutes each. 5 minutes each. Yeah, it's low. 5 minutes each. After 5 minutes, I will notify you to switch roles from the coach to client, or vice versa, and then we will discuss your experience. So please choose a partner, Prabhus. You also choose one of the devotees, Prabhu, and go, if you like, a little bit there, and you can start sharing your goal, and the other one will listen very attentively and ask questions that can help. Okay, and is it clear how to do it? So for the internet broadcast, we will stop now, because this is exercise and we cannot record the exercises. So thank you for listening, and Hare Krishna.